Hello there, my name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the 510N mod which I received from www.e-cigwizard.com. Before I start, I must point out I did receive it free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review. My opinion and product remain true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, so let's go straight ahead and show you in a bit more detail. Okay, so the 510N comes in a nice little, or fairly large sort of presentation box. If you take off the lid, inside you get two 3000 mAh 18650 batteries, but these aren't your usual 18650 batteries, and I will come back to that later on in the review. You get two standard resistance 510 atomizers, and you get the actual 510N. If you take out this section, then you get 5 RY4, which is like a sort of tobacco flavour cartridges. Obviously I'm only showing two here because I've been obviously using them and then refilling them up, but I wanted to make sure I've got a couple left for the actual review. And you get a charger for the batteries. Now on the e-cig Wizard website it does actually say that they advise you against using this charger because it's actually designed for the US market, I think. But you know, I have been using it perfectly fine, and it comes obviously with like the sort of the American pins on there, and I've just been using one of these was it like a shaving adapter, and plugging it in, and it's been working fine. So I said they advise against it, but I can tell you from my own personal experience it works fine for me. Okay, so let's look at the 510N in a little bit more detail. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fully assemble the 510N and show you it fully assembled, and then I'm going to backtrack and just go through a few issues that I've come across. It's basically made up of sort of 5 parts. You have your main body, the switch section, the like an end cap, a 510 atomizer, and then the slightly sort of different 18650 3000 mAh batteries. Now on the battery you have a minus and a positive side, so you just got to make sure the minus end goes in first. Then you get your switch, and that screws into there. And then you have your cap. Now as far as I can see, the only purpose of this cap is basically to sort of catch any e-liquid if you happen to sort of flood your atomizer. And it just screws onto the top. And then you get your atomizer, and that screws in there. On the side you've got a switch, and every time you want to inhale you press and hold that down, and you may not be able to see it in this light, but it does light up like a blue colour. There's no ventilation holes on it as far as I can see, definitely none in the base there, and I can't see any others anywhere. Personally I would much prefer to see just a little tiny hole at the bottom there, you know, just in case you happen to have a dodgy battery that's leaking out gases. It's always best to be sort of safe than sorry. Overall construction of it, for I think you can get the buy just the mod on its own, which I think is about sort of £24, or you can buy the kit, and for £24 it's not bad really, but it is a case of you get what you pay for. The threads on it are not too bad, again considering the price, and they do screw together quite nicely, and without any sort of binding and that, especially this one that just sort of spin it off and spin it back on there, so that's nice. It is a complete fingerprint magnet, should I say. I only polished this probably about sort of 5 or 10 minutes before recording the review, and as you can see already, you may not pick it on the camera, but it is pretty much sort of covered in fingerprints so far. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit now. It uses a 18650 battery, or well, it uses these 18650 batteries that come with the kit. Now on the website it does say that it's an 18650 mod, etc, etc. Let me just show you something. Now here is what I would normally use for an 18650 battery, one of the Trustfire ones. It won't fit. No, literally it's just miles too big to actually fit in the body whatsoever. There's, you couldn't even force that one in there. Now I've got another style of 18650, an AW1, and this feels like it's going to start going in there, but I know that if I push this in, especially all the way, it's going to get stuck and I'll never ever get it out again. And like you can see, it's actually sort of starting to tear the little sticker there, so it really is rock solid. Okay, so let's put the original one back in there now, and then put this back on. Now obviously a lot of people these days, I like to use low resistance atomizers, and if you buy it in the kit, then it comes with two standard resistance atomizers. You know, they fire up fine. Now I'm going to swap this over for a low resistance atomizer. Now this may or may not fire up the first time. If it does fire up the first time, then that is the only time it will fire up. But it's not this time. You don't get no light come up or anything. It's just completely dead. You better hear that there's nothing firing there whatsoever. Now occasionally I'll put in a 510, a low resistance 510, and it'll fire up the first time you press the button. The next time you press the button, it's completely dead again. Now I did read on the forums that people were saying that the actual switch section has some sort of circuitry in it which prevents it from firing up low resistance atomizers. However, if I just take this one out, now I've got a 17670 battery here. This is the one, yeah, that's the correct one. If I put this in, now these fit in there, they fit in there perfectly, but it is a little bit stiff to actually sort of screw it together. But you know, it does screw together fine though once you've got the threads correctly. Can't do it now. That's it. And now fires up perfectly. So for me, that would suggest that it's actually the batteries that have got some sort of circuitry in there that is preventing these from being used with low resistance atomizers. So basically it's an 18650 mod that doesn't use your conventional 18650 batteries, and if you use it with the 18650 batteries that come with the kit, then you can't use it with low resistance atomizers. So you know, for a lot of people that's going to be a bit of an issue. You know, I personally only ever really use low resistance atomizers. You know, so you know, as long as you've got a 17670 battery, then you can use it with low resistance atomizers, and it vapes fine. Absolutely no problems whatsoever. But it's definitely a bit of a strange one. Anyway, so I'm going to put the original batteries back in there and put the standard resistance atomizer back on, and then go and show you what it vapes like. Okay, so that is the 510N. So a bit of a strange issue there with it's an 18650 mod that won't accept like any 18650 batteries that I've got basically, but the ones that come in a kit are meant to be 18650s and they fit in there, but if you use those then you can't use low resistance atomizers, so a bit of a sort of a mixed bag there really. But obviously, we'll show you what it actually vapes like. So I've got the standard resistance the standard resistance atomizer back on there, and also I'm using the what's it called, the 18650 battery that comes with the kit. So just screw that back together. And like I said, now the kit does come with 5 RY4 flavoured. I'm not too sure what the actual strength is. Like every packet says medium written on it, so I'm going to assume that there's somewhere between sort of 11 milligram strength and 18 milligram strength. Okay, so this is the with the RY4 cartridge. As you can see, it produces a nice amount of vapour, just on the standard resistance. Just on par with any other sort of 510 device running at the same sort of voltage. This isn't RY4. This is coffee. I'm positive this is a coffee, not RY4. Very strange, but up to this point I've used 3 of the cartridges that come with the kit. Every cartridge says medium and RY4 written on it. The 3 previous ones were RY4, which is like quite a sort of a sweet sort of tobacco and caramel sort of type flavour. But this one, I'm absolutely positive this is coffee. That's I don't know what it is, but it seems to be sort of one random cartridge in there that isn't RY4. It's actually I'm absolutely 100% certain that's the coffee flavour. Okay, I'm actually going to switch it over because I'm not really much of a coffee fan. So I've got one left of the RY4s. So just bear with me, please. Hopefully this will be an RY4, though the only slight problem I've got now is that it's probably going to mix up the flavours a bit in the atomiser. That's an RY4. What's this one smell like? That smells like coffee. Yeah, most strange. Okay, let's start again then. That's RY4. Right, okay, back on track. So the flavour of the RY4 carts is like quite a sweet sort of tobacco and sort of caramel mixture. Now, I'm quite funny with RY4. 1 minute I love it, next minute I can't stand it. And this isn't a overly strong version of the RY4. So for me, it's been, up until that point where I had a coffee one, it's been quite an enjoyable flavour to vape on. But yeah, I've not got a clue why that's a coffee one, but it's definitely a coffee. Yeah, and that's definitely RY4. Most strange. Okay, so like vapour wise, you get a nice amount of vapour there, and the flavour of the RY4 is quite nice. Obviously, you know, you can put any flavour you want in there. Throw hit, I'm personally finding it to be quite on the mild side. Now it could be because you know, the cartridges are 11 milligram strength, and they're right on the sort of border of being medium rather than low sort of thing. You know, obviously I've been using it with like my low resistance atomizers with that 17670 battery in there, and like, you know, throw hit, flavour, vapour, everything, you know, has been perfectly fine for me. But obviously because they sent me out the kit, I'm going to use the actual items that come with the kit. So they sent out a standard resistance atomizer and the RY4/coffee cartridges. And with the cartridges, like I said, I am getting a throw hit, but it's definitely on the mild side. Battery life on it, again with the included 3000 milliamp hour batteries, they take forever to fully charge, but you know, once they are fully charged, I'm getting probably about sort of 2.5 days worth of use out of it. Now I class myself as a like a moderate sort of vapour rather than a particularly heavy vapour. I don't have it in my mouth sort of constantly, and so that's probably why I'm getting, like, you know, well over sort of 2 days worth of use. Now if you're a heavy vapour, you know, one of these people who sort of chain vaping all day long, then, you know, I doubt if you're going to get as long a use out of it as what I would. But even if you was really sort of, you know, caning it, I still would have thought, you know, it's going to last you a good sort of day and a half to sort of maybe sort of 2 days. So, you know, regardless, you know, battery life is actually very good. The switch on it now, it's you know, you press it and it works fine, etc, etc. Obviously there's no sort of main on off switch to the device, so now if it's in your pocket, you know, if it presses against something, it's definitely going to activate. So now if you're carrying it around, then it's probably best to sort of disconnect the atomizer. Now when I very first got it, I've only had the problem once, but when I very first got it, like the first sort of 10 minutes it was vaping fine, and I put it down, then I could hear a bit of a sizzling noise, and then I sort of looked over, I think what's going on there, and the switch was like illuminated blue, and the atomizer was activating. Now it wasn't activating when I sort of finished vaping on it and put it down, but it was doing it maybe about, well, it's probably about sort of 5 minutes later that I noticed the sound coming out of it. So I picked it up and I thought, oh, maybe the button's pressed in, but it wasn't, and the button was perfectly fine. And you know, I had to take the atomizer out, and then like the button like would stop illuminating, so I could assume that like it's cutting the power. As soon as you put the atomizer back in, it would light up straight away. And but then I put in a different atomizer, and it went out, and then I put the original one back in, and it's been fine ever since. So what happened there, I haven't got a clue, but excuse me, but I've not had it happen. Well, I've had this about 8 days now, something like that. And like I said, it only happened on that very first day. I've not had it happen ever since then, but quite why it happened is I'm not too sure, and it's a little bit sort of worrying. You know, if you leave your, you know, obviously I don't disconnect my atomizers at night. I'll just leave them on the side, you know, attached to me device. And if it did sort of happen to randomly go off during the night or something, then it's a little bit sort of concerning. But like I said, no, it hasn't happened since then. So hopefully it was just a bit of a glitch. But you know, overall, it's not the greatest, but it definitely is a case of you getting what you pay for. You know, like I said, you know, it's something like £24 if you just want to get the mod on its own, or it's £39 or something like that if you get the whole kit. Now, obviously, if you get the whole kit, then you're limited, and you've not got other batteries, then you're limited to using sort of standard resistance atomizers. You know, which, as you can see, you know, still producing a really nice amount of vapour. Me personally, I much prefer to the low resistance atomizer. You're getting a bit more vapour, you're getting a bit more throat hit, you know, and yeah, it's got issues. There's no two ways about it. But you know, if you want something that's just cheap, you can chuck it in the back of your motor and just sort of vapour whenever. Or if you're a builder on a building site, just want something that you're not too bothered about breaking maybe or something. You know, because you know, construction wise, it seems, you know, it's solid as a rock really. But you know, I said those sort of slight issues and that with it, but if you can sort of see past that, then you know, maybe you'd be very happy with it. Okay, get on to the scores. And for the looks, I quite like the look of it. You know, it's just your average sort of, you know, tube mod. The only thing I'd like to see different is maybe a better quality looking button anyway. But you know, I'll give the looks a 7 out of 10. Vapour, you know, it's easily on par with any other sort of 510 device running at the same voltage. I'll give that my average score of 8 out of 10. Throat hit. Bearing in mind I'm basing it on the atomizer that come with the kit, the cartridges that come with the kit, I'd have to give the throat hit, you know, like a 6 really. But you know, when I have used it with me low resistance ones and my normal 18mg strength for e-liquid, everything's been sort of hunky-dory on it. Battery life, you've got to give it a 10 out of 10. Now, if I can make a battery last me 1 day, then I find that very good. So if I can make one last me sort of 2.5 days, it's even better. So that's definitely a 10 out of 10. Switch performance. If it wasn't for that one incident on the incident on the first day, then like you know, I'd quite happily give the Switch an 8 out of 10 because you know it just works. And obviously knock a couple of marks off because there's no sort of main on-off switch to the device. But that one has left that little sort of trigger of doubt in my mind, so I'm going to give the Switch I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. You know, like I said, overall you're getting what you pay for. It's a £24 device, and that's what you're getting really. If you fancy trying one out for yourself, go along to www.e-cigwizard.com, type in this code at checkout, and they'll give you a 12.5% discount every time you purchase from them. Thank you very much for watching, and also come along and visit my website at www.e-cigreviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers guys, happy vaping, see you later.